Well, hello, everybody. I don't know if anybody's here yet or not. Oh, my chat isn't showing up, so hold on. I just put lotion all over my hands. There we go. There it is. Thank you, Alicia. Thank you so much. Blessings to all of you, too, on this Memorial Day. Kiri, hello. Hi, Patty. You got guests there today? Okay. No worries. No worries. You just enjoy your time together. And I had family saying, "You're going on tonight? Why? It's Memorial Day." It's like, well, it's a good day to come on, right? And it's the evening. Traffic was bad enough as it was. Didn't want to be driving any later. Everything. So, Sunflower Marsha, hello. Good evening to all of you. So, like, no matter where I can go, I end up still getting these circles in my glasses. So, trying to figure out where the best place is. How is everybody today? Um, we just had a little shower come through. It was the first rain that we've had in well over 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. We have not had a drop. We are so dry here. And what we got was just, it was enough to get the surface a little wet, but nothing to soak into the ground. So I don't know. They're saying they were supposed to have rain, chances of rain every day for the next week. So I'm hoping we'll get some good soakers out of that. Pennsylvania is dry too. Oh, hey Connie, hello. 9% battery. Oh, I know. Been there, done that. So yeah, it's so dry out right now. And a friend was telling me this morning that so we're supposed to have an El Nino summer, I guess. I'm like, oh, that's great. When we have here in Minnesota, when we have El Nino winters, they're mild and low precipitation. So, and very cloudy, mild, low precip. So I'm like, we don't need another dry summer. We've had a lot of dry summers. And so thing is we had like record snowfalls this winter, so much snow this winter and on a late winter and so and then all of a sudden to go into a semi drought right away at the beginning of the summer, or not even the beginning of summer, so the end of spring. So it's like not looking that great. So anyway, um, you spent a couple hours today watching videos on keeping crickets alive and raising crickets for her gecko. Um, you suggested videos on crickets. Well, there you go, Kira. You should do some. Now, why do you raise crickets? I mean, didn't know. I don't think you raise geckos, right? So, what would you have your crickets for? Oh, Alicia, I am so sorry. No rain. Yep, that's 16,000 evacuated. Wow. Yeah, Canada has been hit badly with fires this year, really badly. Um, we had really bad smoke here. I think I mentioned that last week, but especially the week before was so bad. The haze, I mean, it just looked like deep fog here, and you could smell the smoke, and it was from way up Saskatchewan, Alberta, all that area. So uh, that's what Ryan Hall y'all says. Okay. Cousins had to evacuate. Oh, it's so hard. Geckos eat crickets. Oh, so you would raise them for people who have geckos, not that you need them for. So it's like, okay, do the goats eat crickets? Do your ducks eat crickets? Do your chickens? Did you raise them for the chickens? I've never heard of anybody raise crickets before. So, oh, there you go. Um, it's the gecko's only food. Interesting. The fire here is only 20 minutes away. Oh, Alicia, that's too close. Oof. The government. Alicia would not be a bit surprised. Oh, as I was brushing up again on the Victory Gardens, it's like, you know, of course, this was in the 30s and early 40s. Um, I guess more in the 40s because 1941 and through 44. Um, but it was like they encouraged all this good food so that you would have healthy stuff and everything. And now it's like, yeah, you could eat crickets and you could eat, yeah, have a feast on bugs. There you go. Oh, because we have to do away with all the animals that would normally eat all that stuff because oh, raising those animals is bad for the environment. I'm gonna get in trouble here tonight. I can see. I am so tired, you guys. Oh, I will tell you a little bit of escapades here this weekend in a bit, but I gotta wait till Dave gets on because he'll appreciate this. But you can post a short video link if that's okay. Looks like people had to drive through. Oh wow. Um, yeah, that's totally fine. That's thank you for asking. I appreciate that. Gecko is named JW this year. Oh my gosh. To Fiji. Kiri, you have some stories. You have some stories that is so funny. You didn't know. You walk up to JW to the sheriff with a bag of burgers or something. And it's like, I was told to feed you. Here you go. Oh my goodness. That is just too funny. That is great. So, oh, so, oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm tired. I was, I went to my family's that lives an hour and a half away and had lunch with my sister and my younger brother and then um, showed her how to make homemade mayonnaise because we were watching my video. She was like, I don't know how to do this. She said every time. Yes, the same problem I ever had. She said, I tried so many different times, and you waste so much oil because it's like, oh, this recipe calls for a cup of oil or something. And you want to use a good oil. So it's, avocado oil. It's not that cheap. And so she said, yeah, I was putting through, she would try a food processor and I was using a blender and different things. And so, it looks good and looks good and looks good. And then at one point it breaks and it's just like, and you gotta just throw everything out because it's not any good. And it's like, oh, so anyway, I told her, I said, well, I have a video on that. So she watched it. And so I said really the only way that helps make good mayonnaise is to use an immersion blender. I said, you just have to use that. And she's like, I don't want to buy one more appliance. It's like, okay. So I brought my immersion blender down and showed her how, and it's like, in 30 seconds, you've got mayonnaise, just blending up. She's like, that is so cool. It's like, yeah, it is. But so, anyway, it was fires out here a couple years ago. Yeah, that was so bad. Chocolate covered crickets. Yeah. You go to church with next time she tells you that, show up with a bag of chocolate chip cookies for the sheriff, right? Um, uh, oh, thanks, Alicia. Yeah, it's so easy. It's so easy, and to make it and everything. So anyway, I had to use my own video to help my sister, and we were making because I couldn't remember the recipe off the top of my head. So, um, so we made mayonnaise and had lunch and we grilled and stuff. But and then we went out to my parents, out to the cemetery to their gravesite, and because my dad was a vet, and so we were out there together and just four of us. It's like not much left of our family. So so we were out there, and so you spent a little time there and stuff, and then yeah, it was good. And then I just came back and just got home at like, oh, maybe 45 minutes ago. And it's like, ooh, quick sit down, pull my stuff together. So anyway, I am so glad you guys are here. I really appreciate that. I don't know if Dave is going to get on or not, but anyway, you know how I said I've been working long hours all month? I put in 300 hours in about 3.5 weeks. Rebuilding 4 websites for one client. They have 4 sites. And had come out on the other side, was troubleshooting a few things and everything. And then came to find out there were errors, different things going on with the servers. And I don't know if that makes sense for any of you or not. But anyway, all the places where all the databases and the information gets stored on the internet, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, Friday at 5 o'clock, of course, I was working with another person to transfer some stuff, and we were taking care of it, and lost everything that I had done all month long. And I was like, and we're still, so my whole weekend has been just working with the hosting companies and trying to figure this out, and nobody knows where anything is. And it's like, and where I thought it was being rebuilt and everything was not. It was rebuilt somewhere else, and then that somewhere else, like, oh, we only keep backups for 2 days. 2 days. And it's like, what? Not even a week or anything like that. It was just like, so that's been my weekend. Was supposed to be a wonderful, relaxing, not even think about work type of weekend, turned into a nightmare weekend, really. It was like, so I don't know. We've got like one last ditch effort going on here, trying to figure out some stuff, but waiting on other people. And of course, it's a holiday weekend. We don't have all the regular techs available to us and different things. So anyway, you guys just pray for me that I can get things settled, because I do not want to go through rebuilding them. I haven't even been able to get out in my garden yet. It's just, granted, it's been very, very dry, so it's probably okay. I didn't start little seedlings and stuff, but I'm just like, I really just want to cry. It's just like all that work. But anyway, I suppose I learned some things in the middle of that, but it's like, at my age, I don't want to do it. I want to make videos on mayonnaise, I want to talk about that. I don't want to have to be doing this. So that's where all my time ends up going, instead of being able to make videos right now. It's like, I put in all that effort, all that work. That's a lot of time. I mean, you think a 40-hour week in a month, you'd normally work 167 hours or 168 hours, something like that. And almost double that. So yeah, for, working. I think I took a couple Sundays off, and that was it, but it was all good. So anyway, hey Joy, hi. I know. So hey Lynn, thanks for coming in. Hi Michigan Daffodil, thanks for being here. So yes, I needed you guys tonight for a wonderful, wonderful distraction, and to do something different, talk about something completely different. And so for me this year, a victory garden is going to be, if I can get out there and get that thing planted, it's going to be a victory for me. So, oh, Joy, I almost was. Thank you. That the work is recovered. Thank you. Yes. I'm just, um, the one gracious thing in all of this, the client is a ministry. And so, it's just, um, but four websites, four of them. So it's, they understand these kind of things, and they're very gracious and everything. And they're like, wow. So, yeah, I like those sunflowers. Those are cute. Those are very, very cute. So what are you guys doing? Are you growing gardens? How are things going for everybody? I haven't even had time to watch any of your garden videos. I am so sorry. And trying to, it's like everything pops up and I go, oh, that looks good, delete. Oh, that looks good, delete, delete. It's like, I'm sorry, I don't have time. So, uh, but Patty, I know that you were, Connie's husband was doing a lot of work for you. So how are things coming on that front? And have you been able to get anything built yet? Were you going to do all raised beds, or I can't remember if you're going to do any in ground? You have the strawberry plant from your brother outside. Oh, good. Wonderful. That's so good. If you have the room, Alicia, and if you ever have the chance to be able to get this, and the money too, would be a green stock, because you can rotate those around, during the day or every day, get something different on there, but they hold so much food, and it's vertical. It doesn't take up space or anything like that. So if you're ever able to do that, that would be a major, major win for you. Really, it would be. Um, you can put strawberries in there. You can put herbs, lettuce, all that kind of stuff. So gardening is the best soul-soothing medicine. I know. I want to get out there so bad. So I was so hoping that I could come to you guys today and say, I got my garden planted. And it's like, that was supposed to be Saturday. And I was like, no. Oh, I tell you, it's just, and I had friends calling me and like talking me off the ledge. It was like, say, Kathy, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. And I even wrote to one of the techs, because we did a lot of online chat for the hosting companies and stuff. And I was like, okay, it's like, I just might have a stroke over this stuff. But I know that's not worth it either. So hello, Justin. He is putting Patty's boxes together. Oh, very nice. Very nice. His tiered, great idea. Yes. And then, you could just, if you get the roller thing on it, you can roll it from place to place, or, and just get it out of the way for the winter, or just leave it in the corner of your greenhouse or something. So yeah, it's really, really a convenient way to grow. And like I said, it can grow a lot of food. Thanks, Alicia. I was rather a shock to my system, to say the least, in my brain and my life. It was all good. So yes, that would be my victory garden. So I thought, I've talked about victory gardens before, what they, why they grew them, what they did and everything, but I think it's been a couple years. And so I wanted to focus more on exactly what did they grow in the victory gardens. We know, like, they started them during, it was during World War II. So let me kind of give a little bit of a recap here. Sorry. So they were, during World War II, they were planted by families in the United States. So it'd be like the home front, they called it. So they had the war front basically in the home front, because the battlefronts, I mean, they had the European theater, they had the Pacific theater, they had the African theater, I mean, there was just so many. And the theater is is not where you go watch a movie. Is it was the areas um, of battle that were major things where like a lot of combined um, forces went to battle out different things. So you had the Allies versus, you know, the non-allies. So I don't really want to use the words here tonight, but anyway, uh, thanks. Alicia, I would love to. At least semi retirement, and that's what I've been trying to work into. But this particular task was really it's part of things that I do for a client that I've had for 12 years. So, um, you know, we'll just see. And so I was, you know, I hadn't done anything new. I didn't work for anybody else all month. So, but we shall see. We'll see. So anyway, but no, good point. Very, very good point. So anyway, yeah. So all the different theaters were all the battles from. Um, so much of the agriculture that was grown in the United States was going to the soldiers at the fronts, you know, in the different theaters, and so they were packaging them and canning them and doing all the different things so that, you know, making their MREs and all this stuff that would go to them to feed our soldiers because we wanted to make sure that they had enough food for the strength that they needed and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, then we had the home front. So when all of so much of the food was being directed to the war fronts, it was like we needed to still have food to feed, you know, women and children and old people and everybody else who was left in the States to be able to survive and to eat and different things. So there were food shortages at home because of that. And so planting the victory gardens helped to make sure that there was enough food for our soldiers, again, fighting around the world. And at that time, during the war, they had rations. And so they had actual coupons that everybody was rationed to. Like you could go and get, you know, so many ounces or pounds of meat a week, and you were allowed like one loaf of bread, or you were allowed so much according to the size of your family and everything. And that's all you could have. And you had to have a coupon to be able to get that food. So it wasn't like, well, I'm rich, I have lots of money, I can buy food, as much food as I want, you know? And it's like, no, that's not how things work because they needed to ration it out to make sure everybody got some. You know, it'd be kind of actually more convenient to go back to that way, you know, with the current situation or what's been the last couple of years, instead of somebody going in with, you know, a $50,000 card limit and just like buying everything up. You know, it's like, I'll just put on my credit card and just hoard it or resell it at it. You know, I mean, it's like how times have changed since then. I mean, it's really, if you look at how things were constructed, how they came together with all of that. And, you know, it's possible the government had a bigger plan with all that, but really at that point in time, they did everything they could to help the people because, you know, so, okay. Well, Kiri, I'm glad you're getting some rain. That's good. Oh, yeah, thanks, Michigan Daffodil. Yep, yep, yep. The, your energy and budget so far have gone into improvement of the flower border. Okay, added a few natives. Nice. Very nice. So so the rationing that was happening were mostly in the canned vegetables sections because you know, again, those were nutrients that they wanted to get to the soldiers. And because on the on the fronts they couldn't have like fresh food and stuff like that. It just wasn't feasible for them to be able to, whether it was winter or summer or anything, to have that kind of refrigeration and the different things to help them keep the food fresh, right? So anyway, the when they would grow their own food, and they could preserve their stuff like we do with our canning and stuff, it helped to stretch their ration coupons, and it helped to fill in with all of that. And also, they got fresh food then too, right? So you recall many stories from your mother about the rationing, collection drives. She was very, I bet. I mean, it was a passionate thing. It was survival, really. Um, I put some links below for some of the different information and things like that I'm sharing here. But one of the, because they did a Google phrase, to kind of bring up things. But one of the things I came across was the New York. This is interesting, and I'm sure a lot of you could figure out what this is going to go. But it was a New York Times article written just 3 years ago on Victory Gardens, because what was happening, and people were like, oh, we need a garden, da 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 da. So anyway, they were giving a little history on what Victory Gardens were, and they said, oh, Victory Gardens, it was really, really just a solidarity type of thing. They just wanted to come together and support one another and everything. And I'm like, oh my goodness, just rewriting history here, right? Just it wasn't that we needed the food, it was just for solidarity. And just, I'm like, oh my gosh. You've always wondered how your grandfather escaped being drafted. Oh, ooh, yeah, he would have been definitely wanted on the front there. Most definitely. Oh, I haven't even looked at my comfrey. It doesn't look very big out there, so I don't know if it's wilted or just is not growing. Yeah, we haven't had. We're just getting a little bit of rain through here today, but nothing that's going to really help much. It's the first rain in at least 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. But friend, water once while you were gone. If it only knew stuff that you knew needed, the comfrey bounce. It does bounce back really well. It really does. You might need to cut off the old leaves if they get kind of really dark green or brownish type of thing, or look a little wilty. Cut off the old ones and let new fresh stuff grow up in there. So because it grows so fast and it grows so big, so you should be fine with that. So trains and trucks had to be used to transport the soldiers and the army vehicles and different things and the weapons. So most Americans had local produce grown in their own communities. So I was 8, not at. Okay, I need to add that in there. So because they couldn't ship in, and for us now, our grocery stores, we rely on everything being shipped in, not only from all over the country, but other countries, right? And so we've felt the results of that on occasion when there's been transport shutdowns, strikes, different things like that. And so all of a sudden it's like, why don't we have any lettuce here? Or, different things like that. And it's like, So they really, really learned how to eat locally. And so I think we definitely need to get back to that. Supposed to be okay. I think most of them had lived through the Depression era. That many people were highly stressed about the war. Yeah. Supposed to be hot Wednesday and Thursday will not help the fires. No. Week with no rain, it seems. Yes, pulled the badly well. Okay, good. Good. Eli, hello. Good evening to you. No worries. No worries. So glad you're here. So anyway, where was I at? So so growing locally and everything, and eating locally. So even if a person was not able to grow their own garden, they would barter and trade and different things like that. Maybe a service for getting eggs or fresh lettuce or different things like that. It's like if somebody knew was a carpenter, they could do that and come and help fix something in exchange for cabbage. I mean, different things like that. That means a lot. When it comes down to it, it means a lot. So um, some of the different types of vegetables that were grown that were really popular were tomatoes was big, beans, onions, lettuce, radishes, beets, carrots, squash, cabbage, peas, turnips, kohlrabi, Swiss chard, parsnips, shallots, cucumbers, and potatoes. Um, a little later on, kale, garlic, corn if they had room for it or not. But and then some of the fruit that would grow would be watermelon, cantaloupe, and berries and different things. So they didn't do quite as much with like peppers or leafy greens, like oh, what would be like mustard greens and different things. Although maybe in the South they did, I'm not sure, but this is just kind of a generalized thing. And then a lot of herbs, because space for people was such a premium, and so they needed to utilize that space for something that was going to fill them up, and really nourish them. So if they're taking a 4 by 6 plot out of their small garden area that they have just for a bunch of herbs, and it's like, even though that's great and it's tasty, especially if it's culinary herbs, it's like it wasn't a good use of their space. Now, if it was all medicinal things, that's a little different. But most of the times they would put those in pots, and have container plantings and different things like that. So creamed peas and new potatoes was a special in season dish. Oh, yeah. We've gotten so far away from that of eating in season. It's like we don't even know how to do that anymore. It's like, oh, I'll try it for a couple meals, and it's like, oh, I'll just go to the grocery store and stock up on this, or and I don't even know that we really know how to do that, truly. So, for those of you who do know how to eat in season, more power to you, and it's so great. You grew up eating creamed turkey and green peas over toast. There you go. Um, so let me get back to here. Did you know Victory Gardens were responsible for bringing Swiss chard and kohlrabi onto the American dinner table because they were easy to grow. So we didn't really have them as a huge staple type of thing or whatever, in gardens and everything, but Swiss chard and kohlrabi. So kohlrabi, of course, gets huge, and you can have like one kohlrabi will feed the whole entire family. Do like um, mashed or cut up and fry them and different things like that. The Swiss chard, I mean, eating the whole plant, the leaves as like lettuce in your salad, and then the stems, cutting them up, using them like celery. I mean, it was just wilted lettuce was another straight from the garden treat. Oh yeah. Um, don't you pour hot bacon grease over wilted lettuce? I think it's bacon grease, right? I think. Um, so true, Kiri. So true. It's like they don't know how to get it other than in the grocery store. They really don't. So, again, at their peak, there were more than 20 million victory gardens planted across the United States. 20 million. So that was one victory garden for every 7 people. So 2/3 of all of those gardens were grown in towns, cities, and suburban areas. So people think, oh, I don't have any space to garden. I don't have an acre of land. I don't have, all this I can't put in a garden. It's like, yeah, yeah. So, oh, so true, Carrie. Yep. Love eating cherry tomatoes growing up. Oh, there you go. Hey, Just Fun Channel. Hello. Thanks for coming in. Or is that Caitlin? Is that you? Oh, it is. Okay. Um, so, and then, again, people in the cities, it's like, I don't have a yard. How can I even grow anything? Well, they grew small victory gardens in window boxes. I mean, they had, they did everything that they could. And again, try to um, maybe trade or something like that, or whatever, or even just buy some extra food off of somebody that they knew that had a substantial garden. Um, they put them in window boxes, and they said they would, even if you're on the fifth floor in an apartment building or something, just they would have a window box outside there because they didn't have much in the way of balconies back then in apartment buildings, and so they would water them right out through the window and different things. So got to grow grass instead. Yeah, it's so true. Um, some city dwellers, again, who lived in tall apartment buildings, planted rooftop gardens, and the whole building would pitch in and help. I mean, it'd be so great. Life is so different now. It's really sad. It really is. So it's like, I mean, can you see a whole apartment in a city, a whole building coming together and say, hey, let's work on this? No, maybe a handful of people out of that building. So, but anyway, Dave is here. Oh, hello. I know it felt like a Sunday. Yep. I wish all kids could know the delight of a garden meal. Dairy Queen is so true. So true. Absolutely. Again, many schools across the country planted victory gardens on their school grounds and used their produce in their school lunches. Some of that is coming back, and I think that is awesome that they're learning how to grow gardens, learning how to, that a lot of that food is going right back into their own lunches and the kitchen that's there and everything. So I think it's really wonderful them to be able to see. Um, at that point in time, the U.S. government printed recipe books describing how to prepare homegrown vegetables to make nutritional and tasty meals. So, again, like I said, people just go to the grocery store. They don't know where food comes from. And they're like, how do I put together a meal if I'm growing something? So, hey, Christy, hello. So, they really made it available for them. So, agricultural companies gave tips on how to make seedlings flourish in different climates, which was awesome. It's like, how do you have a drought going on, or it's super hot, or you are cloudy and cool. It's like, how do you get them growing? So, um, and then from the victory gardens, anything that was left over from them, like we all do here, they can them and use them during the winter months to help supplement the amount of food available. So, growing victory gardens gave Americans on the home front a feeling they were doing something helpful to win the war, and they were. Um, by 1944, victory gardens were responsible for producing 40% of all vegetables grown in the US, more than 1 million tons or 10 billion pounds. Whew, that's a lot. Of vegetables were grown in victory gardens during the war. That is, I love this part. That is the weight of 120,000 elephants or 17,000 army tanks. So, oh, I used to watch house hunting type shows. People don't even know how to use a stove. Oh, that's so sad. Yeah, 40% of all veggies grown in their own little gardens there. So whether you're able to just put some window boxes outside your apartment window, have a green stock, have a little 4 foot by 6 foot plot in your little area, or if you turn your entire yard into a garden, if you're in a suburban neighborhood, um, it's like HOAs need to just get over themselves then and just say, put in whatever vegetable garden you want, whatever size, that type of thing. Um, Yeah, microgreens. There you go. So there are a lot of things we've learned, obviously, since the 40s in gardening and growing and different things. Um, we have a lot more access to different kinds of foods in the way of seeds and different things that we can grow. We've learned a lot of different things on how to grow different ways, like Eli, you said, Charles Dowding. Yep. Um, we've got YouTube University, which helps us to learn so much. We've got, there's just so many different things. But again, for those who missed it, a lot of the foods that were grown in the Victory Gardens were tomatoes, beans, onions, lettuce, radishes, beets, carrots, squash, cabbage, peas, turnips, kohlrabi. Are you kind of getting the idea? It's like, okay, these are a lot of the things that last a long time. Either I can can them up or they're going to last, right? So, Swiss chard, parsnips, shallots, cucumbers. They pickled a lot, made a lot of pickles. Potatoes, kale, garlic, corn, again, if they had the room. Any fruit was probably watermelon, cantaloupe, and berries. So, um, yeah, they just, and then if they were able to have the space and have a coop, almost everybody was able to get, or a good amount of people had chickens that they could raise, even if there were only 2 or 3 chickens and they got like 1 egg a day or something, they would, I think wife had planted 25. Wow, Dave, you've been busy. Oh, direct sow day here. Well, congratulations. I was telling them earlier, it's like my victory garden this year is going to be if I can get out and get the garden planted. That will be a victory for me. So, um, yes, Dave, you will find this very not entertaining, but you can commiserate with me. But the projects that I was working on all this last month. I was building 4 websites for one client and put in 300 hours in about 3.5 weeks. Friday, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, it all disappeared, lost it all. And so it's all hanging in cyberspace somewhere between 2 different servers. And I can't get, I can't get information from anybody or even know anything. So where it should be, it's not. Where it shouldn't be, it was. But now they're saying that there are backups. We pay for daily backups, and we did. And so on the old server, and so but they only keep backups for 2 days. I'm just like, we pay for this service, and it's like you only keep it for 2 days. It should be at least at the minimum a week. So anyway, so that's been my weekend trying to figure out what's going on. I may have to rebuild all of them. So I know. So yeah, not good. So your dad and 2 brothers were in World War II. Youngest brother stayed home, took care of the garden and chickens. Yeah, everybody had to pitch in for all of that. Absolutely. Tightwad Gazette is a book full of how-tos of simple living. A used copy is affordable. Cool. Hey, Howie. Oh, thank you so much. Hope you're doing well. So, the one thing in the Victory Garden that was really, really important, and they all stressed this, was succession planting, because they didn't want like all this food coming all at one time, and then you didn't want feast or famine for you, right? In your home garden. So they said every 10 days or 14 days, 10 to 14 days, go out there and plant another set of plants. Let's say you're doing lettuce, plant a little bit, that would be, 5 to 8 plants or something. In another 10 days, get out there and plant some more. Another 10 days, plant some more. And by that time, the others are already coming up and you're harvesting them, so that by, and it depends on the plants too. And, your climate and how long you have to grow, all that kind of stuff. But thank you, Howie. That's very sweet. I appreciate that. Um, the so that you have a continuous fresh supply, that things aren't getting old and then all of a sudden it's like I gotta wait another 3 weeks before this comes up, that type of thing. So plant round tube lettuce, good for you, good for you. And so I think, because especially at that time, it was so important, so important. They tried to eat locally. Things were rarely being shipped in for them, different things. So you really wanted to make the most of your space, make the most of your food, different things like that. So growing things that last a long time, growing things that, succession planting, um, grow according to what you eat. If you don't like kohlrabi, don't grow kohlrabi. It's like if you don't like Swiss chard, you don't grow spinach or lettuce or something like that. So exactly, Howie. Yep. Chrissy, you said you did that with different green beans so they would bloom at different times. And that is very smart. I never thought about the cross pollination for doing that. That is very smart. Um, so anyway, they would also try to find whatever space they could. Sometimes they were empty lots, mostly in towns and cities and stuff like that. Empty lots, backyards, fire escapes were even areas. Now I know that fire codes and stuff, of course, back in the 40s, they weren't as strict on it as they are now, but because it'd be like, you're blocking this, you'll find if you put stuff out there, da 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 da. But anyway, just finding ways to, even hanging pots off of a railing or something like that, whatever it is, but trying to grow whatever you could. So you did that with different, okay. Succession crops done to get, yep. Your chickens are still free ranging, so no garden yet, but one of your roosters saved you from a water moccasin. Oh, Christy. Oh my goodness. But yes, and then bartering too, that if you're growing if you have more space, again, to grow more garden and to have some chickens and stuff like that, barter with somebody who doesn't have that ability, in exchange for services for food. Yeah, you'd hear about people talking about their egg money. I just think, like if you watch Andy Griffith's show or something like that, you hear about, oh, I've been saving up my egg money for this or that. And what it came from that era where, their chickens would lay and they would just use what they needed, but then they would have the extra eggs and they could sell that. And back then it was probably, excuse me, 5 cents a dozen or something, or 10 cents a dozen. And so they still had to probably get feed and different things like that. Although, so any of you who raise chickens, excuse me, I was thinking about this earlier today, and it was like, if they didn't have access to feed like we have now, it's like, oh, go to Tractor Supply, pick up, so many bags of organic chicken feed and da 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 da. We can just buy that, and that's what we depend on to feed our chickens, in like allowing them to free range and stuff like that. Now here we don't have, 5 or 6 months of the year, we don't have the ability for them to free range anywhere because nothing's growing. So it's like, what did they do back then to feed their chickens? Did they feed them like scraps from the table? If there was like a cabbage that went bad or lettuce or something, or the different things from the garden. So if they were succession planting all through there had to be plants that you would pull and the different things that go bad. Would that be what they would rely on for feeding their chickens? I'm really interested in knowing, because I never came across anything. So I found an abandoned village. In the old village in the forest was an orchard of every type of fruit. Oh, cool. Found 2.5 acres of wild rice, fed from abandoned well using ditched. Wow, that is so cool. On your last expedition, scraps. Okay. Was that in around your area then, Howie? Close to it? That is so cool because you know that they did something to for that village to be able to survive and thrive and have everything. You bring all your extra eggs to church. See? Okay. Carry egg money. Yep. I have lots of videos going up tomorrow. So cool. I'll have to try to really watch those. Yes. So, I mean, like Curie's, even if it's there to help pay for the feed, right? And to do all the Southern Gulf Islands. Okay. Um, and at that point in time, the the government asked the Americans to work whatever bit of land they had to produce their own food. And so people were eager to do that and had their victory gardens there. It apparently had been going before that. Another time, maybe it was World War One. I don't know, but I didn't really come across anything. But it says it resurfaced in the movement, waging battle on the home front with hoes and shovels. Eleanor Roosevelt planted a victory garden on the White House lawn. Americans were encouraged to sow the seeds of victory, and they did. So, some other things that we can try that they didn't really have at this point was hydroponics. If that's something that, if you don't have soil to work with, start digging into. Yes, start checking out hydroponics and see. Hey, Matt and Sarah, hello. Lost some of the knowledge our elders learned growing up. Yes, so true. During the recent virus, totally calling my garden a victory garden. Double down. You did, Dave, and you doubled this or tripled the size of it too. So laying boards on the ground and bugs, worms, and lizards hide under the board. Lift board, watch the chick. Great idea! Oh my goodness. Aquaponics. Aquaponics. I don't know what that word is, Eli. I know you're making a play off of that, I think. So, oh, Kiri, sorry about that. Well, stay safe in the storms. So there you go. That's a good way to feed your chickens and take care of a lot of the things that are out there. So excellent idea. Excellent. So let me read. I'm just trying to figure out the last couple things here. Okay, this was interesting too. When World War II ended, so did the government promotion of victory gardens. Many people did not plant a garden in the spring of 1946, but agriculture had not yet geared up to full production for grocery stores, so the country experienced some food shortages. So just because the war was over, I was like, okay, sending all the young men home and all this other kind of stuff, we can get back to normal. Food will be right in the stores again. And it's like, no, it takes a while for that to gear up again. So, easy free food for the chickens. Yes, smart idea. Lay back. So we have to remember that in any type of thing that goes on, and I think we've talked about this before and we've experienced it and everything, but in the last 3 years where there are shortages that happen, we think that, oh, well, okay, in 2 weeks, everything will be back in, it'll start filling up again. But when those areas of production or whatever have been shut down, it's like it's going to take a long time for things to get back up. So we just have to kind of remember that. So don't give up right away. Keep it going. so um, so again, start by making a list of your favorite vegetables, the ones that you normally eat on a regular basis. Dedicate space to the crops that will give you the most bang for the buck, they said. Um, if you're limited on space, try to avoid crops that take up a lot of space, like cabbage takes up a lot of space, the big leaves and everything. But they also store well, and they're very versatile and can do a lot in feeding your family. So again, that all depends on what you have. And it's like, and work with people around you too, or family members or something. It's like maybe you can share garden space. Maybe one person let's just do all cabbage over here in this yard, and we'll do all beans over here or something like that. I don't know. It's you got to get creative on that kind of thing. So supply chain snafus are a good list. No kidding. Absolutely. Grow crops that are versatile and can be stored well to ensure good eating right through the winter months. Um, so, as much food. Yes. So, I think that's it. Um, again, the food that stores really well instead of, you know, unless you're going to pickle a bunch of them, it's like growing a lot of banana peppers. It's like, okay, they're not going to last if you want to pickle a lot of them, but it's like, are you going to take up that space if you're not going to be using them or eating them? Because they basically end up being just a condiment type of thing. They're not a hearty main meal type of food, whereas you would have a potato, and you could have a baked potato that would fill somebody up, or something like that. So, as well as a parsnip and different things. So, and if you have a shorter growing season, maybe grow those things that grow fast, and then you can succession plant with those and get a lot of crops out of them very quickly. So, those are kind of some of the things to think about in that way. Um, the yeah, so I put some links in below um, on some of the things I've shared. One was from the National World War II Museum. Uh, so it was kind of cool. So the yeah, if you hear from anybody that, oh, the Victory Gardens is all about people coming together, it was just solidarity, it was just that and everything else, it's like they're trying to rewrite history and trying to tell you a fast one. There's really truly. But so did not have a chance to get together to pull any tips together or anything for you guys. But hey Jay, how are you? Keep us alive, gardens. So true, so true. One potato split to 3 to 4 hunks. Plant spring. I know, right? Those last withered potatoes in your pantry in March are the perfect ones to plant. Exactly. Exactly. And it's like if there's areas in your house, especially if you have a basement or something, that you can modify or convert into some kind of a storage area for your food and, different things. So, if you're able to do that, that's something to think about too. So, anyway, I hope you all have had a really good Memorial Day. Oh, you're welcome, Michigan Daffodil. So I know that we've talked about these things before, but I never really went into exactly what we grew. And so I thought that would be kind of helpful tonight too. It's like everybody talks about, oh, have a victory garden, it's like, okay, well, I'll grow daisies and just a bunch of beans and different things. It's like, okay, we need to get down to a little bit more brass tacks here, right? Um, oh, Christy. Oh, I know. Yes. Yes. Remember our fallen heroes. So, Most definitely. Most definitely. So, all right, you guys, you have an awesome week. I will see you next Monday. Sunday is actually my birthday. So, we'll have like an after birthday little woohoo type of thing online. So, uh, phone's in the red. Good night. Okay. So, 4-day week makes a week. There you go. All right, guys, you take care. God bless. Always have hope. And I hope, I hope that those website files can be retrieved. So, anyway, um, you have a great week, and we'll see you next Monday. Good night. Thanks.